To set up for the deadlift, begin by approaching the bar with your preferred stance. Usually feet directly underneath the hips is a good place to start. Make sure you're getting close to the bar. You can either roll it to you or step towards it, but you want that bar over the knot of your shoelaces, almost touching your shins. You don't want to push the bar forward over the toes or over the forefoot when you come down to grab the bar. Grab the bar firmly with both hands. Squeeze your lats by bringing your elbows into your side as though you're juicing an orange in your armpits. Wedge yourself under the bar and pry your chest forward, dropping your hips. Continuing to squeeze the bar firmly and squeezing your lats into your side. Press through the feet as though pressing the floor away from you. As the bar passes the knees, push the hips through to make contact with the bar at the thighs. Keep the bar close to you, both on the concentric and eccentric phases. Do not let your knees push the bar out in front of you. Keep that bar centered over the midfoot. Note that as weight increases, the ability to wedge and the necessity to wedge will increase. You want to bring your hips as close to the bar as possible without pushing the bar away from you with your shins. Squeezing the lats in tight will bring the shoulders closer to the hips and shorten this lever arm, making the lift more efficient. Remember that because the deadlift starts from the floor, we cannot use the eccentric motion of the barbell on our back and our hands like we can on the bench press or the squat in order to build our tension and to build our brace. This wedging will become much more important as the weights get heavier, and you need to be able to inhale, hold that breath, brace, and wedge yourself underneath the bar with these heavier weights in order to maintain stability and power through the lift. The trap bar deadlift is executed in much the same fashion, the main difference being that the handles being on the side allow you to bring the center of mass directly over the midfoot, which allows you to get your shins further forward than where your hands would be, so you're not worried about pushing that bar away from you. This allows you to maintain a little bit more of a squat type position. This can help some people keep their torsos more upright and might be easier for some folks. If grip strength is a limiting factor, which it will be for most people, an overhand grip is going to be very challenging with heavy weights. An alternative is to use a mixed grip where one hand is supinated. Make sure you squeeze the tricep on the hand that is supinated in order to protect the bicep tendon. Alternately, you can use a hook grip, placing your thumb against the bar and trapping it with your fingers. This is painful, but very effective. And finally, you can use straps or lifting hooks if you want to spare the hands and really just focus on loading that heavy hinge pattern. Rounding the back is a very common error in the deadlift. This usually results as part of a poor starting strategy. You need to wedge yourself underneath the bar and lock that back in place. Note that the shoulder blades are being pulled down towards the hips, but they're not being squeezed together in the back. Another common fault is simply hyperextending and pushing the hips through too far at the top. You don't want to hyperextend your back in this position. Just push the hips through to just stand fully upright. Think about standing tall. Another common fault is seeing the hips rise before the shoulders as the weight comes off the ground. This is a problem regarding the leg drive off the floor and not wedging yourself under the bar again. You fix this by focusing on pushing through the floor with your feet at the beginning stage and keeping the bar in nice and close. That will help you keep the bar locked in and your hips and shoulders will rise together. And the final common fault is hitching or ramping the bar up the thighs in order to finish the lockout. Unless you're competing in a strongman competition, just don't do this. And finally, key points on the deadlift. Start with the bar over the knot of your shoelaces, probably much closer than you think it needs to be. Juice an orange in your armpits by squeezing your lats down, bringing your shoulder blades closer to your hips. Wedge your hips into the bar, prying your chest up as your hips come forward. Press the floor away with your feet during the initial pull, and push the hips through to stand fully upright at lockout.